As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Hi, Richard. Hi, Nana. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Tia. Hi, Matt. Hi, Susan. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Pam. Please hit that share button if you're in here so people know we're live. A lot going on in the world. Sorry I haven't been on the last couple of days. And, had migraines and everything else. Hi, Karen. How you doing tonight? Crazy stuff happening though. Still nothing. No productive meeting being held on the debt ceiling. No agreements on either side. With less than 10 days to go till we reach our debt ceiling. Ridiculously. Biden and McCarthy holding meetings, but nothing's actually coming out of it. I mean, the meeting between President Joe Biden and Kevin McCarthy Monday afternoon discussed a path forward to avert the debt ceiling or debt limit breach, failed to yield a deal. Saying the talks were productive is a joke at this point. We don't have there's no agreement. I mean, on either side, there's extreme differences of opinion. I mean, the tone is supposedly getting better on the discussions. But the problem is, nobody's willing to concede on either side. We're already $33 trillion in debt, but yet Biden wants another $10 trillion added onto the debt ceiling. I mean, Biden won't make any public remarks, repeating a statement that the talks were productive. That's all he said. I mean, this is jokes. With only days left until the June 1st deadline, when the Treasury Department will be unable to pay the nation's bills, urgency is mounting. This is an urgent matter at this point. Biden and McCarthy need to find a path to raise the government's borrowing limit, and it needs to involve cutting spending. Yeah, how can we spend? We'll get to the Ukraine issue here in a minute. Article 14 does not allow you to raise the debt ceiling, Richard. That is definitely not true. Biden saying he can use Article 14, he cannot. Article 14 is very specific in when it can be used, and we have to be at war in order to use it or have outstanding debts. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privilege or amenities of the citizens of the United States. First part, now shall any state deprive any one person of life, liberty, property without due process of law and justice. I mean, obviously, the protections within this are more for the people. I mean, it's a joke. What they're trying to use is forcing people to, of course, believe that this would allow them to somehow go through and raise the national debt ceiling is absolutely a joke. I mean, I've been watching this thing go back and forth. And no matter what, the only validity of public debts of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payments of pensions and bounties for services. The suppression of an insurrection or rebellion. Only in suppression of an insurrection or rebellion. That's the exact statement on Article 14. Shall not be questioned. Are we in an insurrection? Are we in a rebellion right now? Let's be honest. I mean, public debts, yes, there are public debts. Very few of them. Pensions, of course, come out of a different fund altogether, not the actual budget. And bounties for services, I mean, that we could say anything we want. It's a tit for tat until somebody concedes. But at this point, nobody is conceding. McCarthy, of course, repeatedly stopped short of assuring that the two sides would reach a deal in time, saying he wished they had started negotiating before the final hour. Ruling out military cuts, of course, to spending, as well as new revenue to reduce the deficit. This U.S. domestic budget issue is a huge problem. And McCarthy, of course, does not support a short-term extension of the deadline to buy the two sides time. I mean, this is crazy. No matter what, we're in trouble. I mean, Wall Street is now preparing for possible U.S. default as the talks of the rising government debt ceiling will go down to the wire. Wall Street banks, of course, and asset managers are preparing for the fallout for the default. I mean, financial industries have prepared for such crises before, but this time it's a relatively short time frame to reach a compromise for bankers on the edge. I mean, with less than 2 weeks remaining, the Treasury Department has warned the federal government, may not be able to pay all its debts. The U.S. deadline reaffirmed by Treasury Secretary Yellen on Sunday. I mean, Citigroup, a lot of these are more worried than any previous debt ceiling issue. Government bonds underpin the global financial system, which is already heavily gauged and damaged because of China's new currency. That's a big dream. You're just dreaming now. Pension funds are pension funds. They're separate from that, from federal funds. But a lot of people that won't get paid are like people on public benefits and other things are going to have issues. We all know this. Hopefully everybody's ready. But it's getting worse. I mean, and not only to say that, if we looking outside the U.S., there's a new wave of COVID coming. Nobody's talking about it. XBB strain. I mean, right now they're projecting that even China will have something like 65 million cases a day, a week, toward the end of June. And are we using bioweapons? Because this new variant is very different from the rest. Yeah, 30 tons of explosives missing from a train, a fake Pentagon explosion. And the U.S. briefly posted and removed photos of a bomb designed to obliterate Iran's nuclear facilities today. The Air Force, of course, briefly published a rare photo of a massive ordnance penetrator, a bunker buster bomb. Recently revealed satellite imagery shown that Iran is constructing nuclear facilities that could be out of reach. Photo, of course, of this powerful bomb that could penetrate deep into the earth and could target Iran's underground bunkers and used to enrich uranium, surfaced on Whiteman's Air Force Base's Facebook page before disappearing hours later. We are stepping up in every single way. We're trying to start a war. And of course, wartime would allow Article 14 to be in play, raise the national debt. I mean, the Eastern fronts and front lines, of course, in Ukraine have been shifting as Russia has said it's now controlling all of Bakhmut, a claim disputed by Ukrainian officials. But the front lines in eastern Ukraine are shifting in significant ways. Russia and Ukraine both carrying out offensive operations in and around the area. Russian forces inside the city have made further advances inside and claim full control of every district. Ukrainian forces are still fighting in a small area in the western fringe of the city. Meanwhile, the situation outside Bakhmut is dynamic. Ukrainian forces reported a counteroffensive in the north and the south of the city. All this while Biden makes a scary statement that F-16s will proceed to Ukraine. Joe Biden made a very odd statement, of course, in his press conference about sending F-16s to Ukraine. The United States agreed to send F-16s to Ukraine just days ago after Ukraine claimed it did not require them back in February, of course. Plan to send F-16s and train Ukrainians to use them is being led by the United States. And this comes after a warning from Russia. Russia, of course, said the ambassador of Russia issued a dire NATO warning over F-16s. Allowing F-16 fighter jets to operate in Ukraine could lead to serious questioning about NATO's involvement in the war. Last week, President Joe Biden and his allies, showing that they're supplying of the U.S.-made jets to Kiev and back training programs for Ukrainian pilots. There's no infrastructure for the operation of F-16s, and needed number of pilots and maintenance personnel is not there either. So what's going to happen if American fighters take off from NATO airfields controlled by foreign volunteers? Because this is exactly what's going to happen. Separately, Russia, of course, is saying that transferring of jets is absolutely pointless and stupid, as it is. I mean, on the grounds, Moscow's military capabilities are such that all goals of the invasion are being achieved and will certainly be achieved. I mean, amongst that, we know that Russia, of course, is moving massive amounts of nuclear weapons, transporting nuclear weapons from storage facilities around Russia. Right now, we don't know where they're heading or where they're going to be set up. But there's even more additional information regarding evacuation measures. In an urgent mode, people are being evacuated from a number of facilities and a storage facility for nuclear weapons, of course. Raskusto is also evacuating the area near Girivin, a city district of the Bolog Oblast. I mean, once again, stress that Ukraine has nothing to do with events in the Belgorod Oblast region. But we're watching major movements of nuclear weapons. And this is units part of the Strategic Missile Force. Central Nuclear Weapons Storage Point in Russia. They're moving these weapons out. They're getting ready. Yeah. We're protecting borders while being invaded ourselves. It's sad. Absolutely sad. And Biden, of course, thinks it's fine just saying, oh, yeah, we're going to send Ukraine all these jets. We know what's going to happen. There's no way that the Ukrainians can fly these F-16s right now. No way. So in order to use these F-16s, we're going to train Ukrainian pilots, send U.S. pilots, to fight them. It's ridiculous. I mean, watching what's happening in Ukraine and Russia and everything that's happening there, we know that's going to end up bad. How bad is it going to be for us? All depends. All depends. Dire straits, of course, are happening. Russia is having cross-border incursions by an unarmed group entering Vladimir Putin's territory from Ukraine. This is another thing. The border crossing incursions that took place today when armed Russian opposing groups entered Russian territories from Ukraine. Russian opposition groups. So they don't even know who it was at this time. They knew they came through Ukraine. They were not Ukrainian. Sabotage groups, of course, are being repelled by Russian armies, border guards, and federal services, and everything. At least 6 people were wounded, and 3 houses, administration building had been damaged. Of course, Ukrainian news outlets are reporting 2 groups infiltrated Russian territory where a liberation of Russian legions, volunteer corps, both consistently, excessively exclusive of Russian citizens, supposedly. But the so-called saboteurs, of course, nobody's claiming they're not Ukrainian citizens. Ukraine's not even claiming that at this point. Of course, Russia has not made a comment of who they are or who they want, but confront the current government is what they appear to be wanting to do. I mean, if you look at some of the soldiers that were in the photos, I can't, of course, show these, but anti-Russian fighters, I'm sorry, but they look like some U.S. citizens. That's what it looks like to me. And if they're U.S. citizens that went to fight in Ukraine and decided to not breach borders of Russia, we're going to have serious issues. Serious issues. I mean, overall, it's unclear whether the cross-border incursion into Russian territory was carried out by Ukrainian saboteurs, Russian-backed militant groups, and the situation in backline and surrounding areas remains unclear, as both Ukraine and Russia claim to have gained the upper hand in the location. But as for what we can see on radar and mapping, Russia obviously has that territory under control. Obviously. And it's tragic watching what's happening. Of course, the government wants to push and pull and do whatever, say whatever they want to say and do whatever they want to do. Not give any means to give anybody means to oppose them. Anti-Russian group, that's all it says, yeah. It takes more than months to train on an F-16. I mean, if you're not a trained fighter pilot, it takes a lot longer than just months. First, you have to even train to even handle the G-force of an F-16. Which is scary because we know they don't have that capability right now. Couldn't handle it beforehand. And China, of course, is urging the U.S. to meet halfway and bringing ties back on track, while the U.S. doesn't want to do anything with that. They want to avoid a nuclear war. They do want to take back Taiwan. But watching what's happening, I think the U.S. is pushing for it. And while Biden is cautious about using the 14th Amendment, like I said, you have to be in wartime, or you have to meet very specific criteria as an insurrection or rebellion is happening within the country, which neither one are happening. So maybe they're going to push and say that another insurrection is happening. Who knows at this point? Who knows? As we go through what's happening and days ahead, we got to be prepared for anything. We know that we have less than a month and a half till FedNow takes effect. We know that our debt ceiling is crossing less than 10 days away. If that happens, what happens to our money? Is it going to be like Germany where the government seizes all half of everybody's income? Civil asset forfeiture is already in place. And it doesn't require you to actually commit a crime. It just requires you them to suspect you committed some kind of activity in some time in your past. Which is ridiculous. It is just ridiculous watching what's happening. The fallout, the lack of control, the sadness that we feel within our country as we're able to support other nations. We're able to give money to foreign countries like Ukraine, like Africa. We're able to give this money to foreign countries. We're able to take in citizens from other countries. But yet we have homeless vets. We have people that are starving here in America today. But yet we're able to give to everybody else but ourselves. Americans are no longer first. America is not first. Let's be honest. If anybody thinks America's first, they have to be joking. Everything is backwards. Everything is backwards, and it is sad. Watching the destruction and chaos happening around us day by day. Now they're kicking homeless vets that were housed in hotels under the grant program out of their hotel rooms to put in people that cross the border illegally to house illegal immigrants. Not just house illegal immigrants, pay them a stipend give them money, give them food, supply them with every meal they need in these hotels. Watching massive amounts of food go in the trash because they don't want to eat what they're provided. Our own people are suffering, but yet America is not paying attention. Our very own citizens suffer while the world takes in, gets what it wants, while we're falling apart. At this point, debt ceiling is a joke. Because even with the debt ceiling, even if it does get raised, what's that mean? Yeah, hotels get paid more for illegal immigrants than they do U.S. citizens. Oh my goodness. It's unacceptable. It's truly unacceptable. Watching what is happening. The devastation of our entire country being ripped apart, piece by piece. Being sold to the highest bidder. Literally. As we enter these less than 10 days till we end up defaulting on the debt ceiling. So remember, it's important to be prepared for whatever's going to happen. Because it is going to be crazy. I mean, if we can't buy goods from foreign countries because we owe so much debt to them, we're going to have serious consequences that we have to face as citizens. So make sure you have extra medication on hand. If you don't, call your pharmacy, ask if you can get a month for emergency purposes so you have an extra month on hand. I mean, simple things to be prepared for whatever is going to happen in the next couple days. As we watch the U.S. slowly fall apart. It's sad. It's truly sad. Yeah, just dropping off busloads of migrants or illegal immigrants. We're not going to call them migrants. We're going to call them what they are, illegal immigrants. Migration is a good thing. Having migrants come to your country is a good thing. But it has to be done legally. It has to be processed legally. Yeah, get your money out of U.S. banks. Civil asset forfeiture, just like they did in Germany when Germany defaulted on its own debt. You remember, everybody probably remembers that. Germany seized all that money from personal accounts. Half of every dollar, 50 cents went to the government. Some people even more if they had more money. It's coming. Yeah, you can't even get prescriptions for livestock after June 11th, which is ridiculous. Credit unions too. They can seize the money. Civil asset forfeiture in the United States allows it. Civil asset forfeiture allows them to seize any funds. It's important to remember that. Any funds that they didn't fit. God bless you guys. If you guys are able to donate, please do. If you can't, we understand. We're definitely trying to raise money, though, so we can afford to keep the channel going. Yeah. Get paid through Venmo and immediately take cash out. That's the way to do it, Alex. But God bless you all. God bless America. Hopefully we can get through this together. Be strong. Be ready. As we don't know what's going to happen next. Of course, I will see you guys Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Till then, good night. God bless you.